3 hacks for banishing food cravings once and for all. Hey, Sophie here. And in fact, I've got my first hack, my first trick for banishing food cravings right in my hands right here. So I'm just going to go over these 3 simple hacks, if you like, for banishing food cravings. This is what I use myself. It's what I've used myself for many, many years, so that I don't go to those comfort foods and those ultra-processed foods and those foods that are going to not love my body back. It's what I teach my clients, you know, the hundreds of clients of mine who have released their unwanted fat and got into the healthiest shape of their life. So I'm going to share them with you. Now, the first thing that I just want to quickly cover is that when we go into menopause, we tend to have more food cravings. Most women do. It is to do with your hormonal, it's not even imbalance. Your estrogen goes down. That affects all the different physiological systems in your body. You're not feeling so good. Then that sets off a whole cascade of other issues and symptoms. Maybe you're not sleeping as well. Maybe you have mood swings. Maybe you're irritated. Maybe you have low energy. Maybe you have brain fog. All of which, okay, with the raise in cortisol levels, all of which can lead to more food cravings. Now, I want to be really clear. A food craving is not a craving for a bowl of broccoli or a bowl of peas or beans or something like that, is it? A food craving, and this is the first thing I really want you to think about, a food craving is something where it sort of simultaneously happens that you think of a certain food and then you feel that craving in your body. So you sort of think of that, and it's always an addictive food. It's always a food that's going to give you a dopamine rush of some kind. So that's either going to be a sweet, salty, fatty, something of that combination, which most of the time is some kind of ultra-processed food. Whether it's chips, whether it's tortilla chips, whether it's oily, salty nuts. Some people very much go to salty, oily, crunchy, crispy, and then, or it could be sweet. For a lot of people, it is sweet. You're craving that baked good or donut or chocolate or candy or whatever it might be, or sweet drink, sweet soda. So it's very important to realize that when you are craving a food, to distinguish the difference between hunger, real hunger, but healthy bodily hunger, where you're like, I am so hungry, my mouth is watering, I need to eat something now because I'm so hungry, I've got that salivating in my mouth, my stomach's growling, I am hungry. And that is a really good thing. You should have hunger. It is a natural, biological signal, like it is time now to eat. But when you're balanced and you're healthy and you have that real, I call it real hunger, physiological hunger, body hunger, you'll eat, you almost want to eat something that's healthy. You would eat an apple, a banana, a piece of fruit, a handful of nuts, a healthy meal, a chia pudding, a bowl of granola, whatever it is. So you would have that, and very often for myself and clients that I work with, when we're really, really ravenously hungry, and this is going to get to hack number 3, there's a certain kind of macro that you really crave, but I will get to that. But first, make the distinction between, I have all these food cravings and comfort food and everything. Just know that what is going on with you, it's not that you're hungry and that you are going to eat, you just need to assuage your hunger with a really healthy, nutritious food. What it is that there's something going on with you, and this takes us to hack number 1. There is something going on with you. Okay, you are emotionally stressed. You are hungry, angry, lonely, tired. There is something that is going on for you, that you have this need for a dopamine hit, and you will picture. Literally, an image will come into your mind of that food, be it the ice cream, the cookies, the chocolate, the chips, whatever it is, that might have given you a reward in the past. Meaning it gave you that dopamine hit in the past when you were feeling uncomfortable. And a really obvious example is you had ice cream. When you were sad, maybe you were raised that way. Don't worry, maybe your caregivers, when you were sad, let's go get an ice cream. So it was a reward. You're sad, have an ice cream. You're angry, you're mad, you've been crying, but now let's make it all better. Go on, let's just get a bag of chips or an ice cream. So very often it is not your fault in any way, shape or form. That's a really important thing to realize. We have been raised to have these foods, these ultra processed foods, or these really fatty, sweet, salty foods as rewards, right? For whatever's going, for emotional stress, basically. I mean, even a little baby, if you think, a little toddler, oh, don't worry, here, have a great treat, dry your eyes up, and here's a little thing of gummy worms or whatever it is. So we've been raised to create these reward loops, these reward systems. I'm feeling a certain way, okay, I'm going to reach for that, I'm going to have that. It makes me feel better until it doesn't. But that reward is not working for you anymore, because actually, if you think about it, it's not really a reward because it's not really giving you what you want. As we get older and we really look at this, as my clients do, what you really want is to feel better. You want to feel amazing. And eating those foods makes you feel worse. It makes you feel like crap after you've eaten it. And so becoming aware that the actual reward that you thought that maybe at one time when you're 5 years old or 10 years old or whatever worked, it is no longer working. Okay, so this leads us to hack number one. When you are in a food craving, when you're like, I have got to go and go, my car's got a mind of its own and I'm going to the drive-through or the donut shop or whatever it is, or I'm going to the kitchen and I'm reaching for that thing that's been speaking to me in the pantry, the candy, wherever it is. When that is going on, the first hack is to pause, is to stop. Just pause for a moment and see, and this is a habit, it's a practice. It's a practice. And you just you'll do it over and over and over and over again until it becomes easier. But the first step is to pause and recognize, oh, this is what's going on, okay, and become aware of it. And becoming aware of it means you're literally turning your awareness online, okay? And so if you can just give yourself that little gap, it's like the famous Viktor Frankl said, in between stimulus and response, there is a gap. And in that gap lies your ability to choose, right? And in that gap, as he said, lies your freedom. Okay, your power and your freedom. So we have to be able to create that little gap when we're in a food craving of just taking a moment. Oh, pause button. I recognize this is going on. And then when you're in that pause, what I invite you to do to start practicing is the 2 F's. One is to feel what is really going on. And so your instant thing will be, I'm hungry. Okay, but if you really lean and go, wait a minute, what am I feeling? What am I really feeling? What is the emotional stress that is underneath the craving? You want to get underneath the craving. And start coming to that with understanding and curiosity and kindness. Okay, what's really going on? You even might want to put your hand on your heart, take a few breaths. What's really going on? Okay, what's really, really going on? What's underneath? Well, I'm irritated, really irritated and angry right now. Okay, cool. Or I'm really sad. I feel sad and I feel empty. It might be I feel lonely. I'm bored. Okay, so start to identify the feeling and the emotion that is going on. It's also very helpful to use your name. Sophie is feeling irritated right now. Sounds silly, but it really helps because it separates you away from the feeling and the emotion, which is, by the way, going to pass. But you've got to be able to step away from it, step back from it and observe it, which is what awareness is. So you're going, oh, Sophie is irritated. Sophie's experiencing anxiety and fear right now. And lean into that. Feel it. Feel the feels. Because the fact is that these feelings and emotions aren't going to kill you. They will pass. But they're only going to pass if you lean into them and you feel them. Like you would a child. If a little child was really having a hard time, you would go, what's going on? How, before you put an ice cream in their face, what's really going on? Well, I'm really sad. This kid hit me and cry. It's okay. And it's very often a child, when they can acknowledge it and they can validate that feeling and they give themselves a moment to burst into tears and to have a hug or whatever it is, then it's gone. Then they're running off and they're on to the next thing. But as adults, we don't give ourselves time and space to do that. So that would be the first thing, is to start to discover what is underneath the craving. It's almost always some kind of emotional stress. Sometimes it can be emotional, kind of like spinning off the charts, like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy, it's almost like a kind of overexcitement where you just don't know how to contain your excitement in an odd kind of way. That can be a sort of slight stress as well. Start looking for these patterns for you. It could be reward. Oh, this amazing thing has just happened, or I got the call, or I've got this job, or something, and I need to reward myself. Right? That can be a little bit, but that's not so much of a craving. That's a different pattern. That's a whole different thing that I coach my clients on, but it's more getting underneath this craving. Okay, so the first hack is the 2 F's. First is feel, which I've just gone over. And the second part of this is the first F is feel, the second is find. Find something different to feed that emotion with. Because you're used to feeding it, as I've said, with the ice cream, the cheese, the whatever the addictive food is, right? And that's what you're used to doing, but find something different. And you want to ask yourself, what do I really, really need? What do I need? Feel the feels and ask yourself, what do I really need? I need to find what I really need. I need to find out what you really need, mind, body, and spirit. What do you really need? And it might be I need to move my body. It might be I need sleep. I'm exhausted. It might be I need to actually have, this is real hunger. I need to have something really nutritious. It might mean I need to vent my anger. I need to find somebody that I can just vent, safe place to vent my anger, right? I might need to do some journaling. I might need a lovely, soothing, hot cup of tea. So you want to start finding over time things that you can feed or nourish, but I like to say feed yourself with, your emotional stress with, which isn't food. So I always drink hibiscus tea. Why? Because it helps bring down blood pressure and it's super, super healthy, but it has a very lovely, soothing, naturally sweet taste to it. So I drink lots of different teas, but I love hibiscus tea. So you could find a lovely warm drink that you love. Make sure you have that. Sometimes if it's food cravings in the evening, what you really need is a really nice hot bath or a long shower or a chat with a really good girlfriend where you can just have a good cry, right? So start finding what you need underneath that. So that is hack number 1. The next 2 are much quicker because that required a little bit of explanation because it's deeper emotional coaching. It's that emotional stress work that's so important to do. Next is move your body. And it's M&M. So it's music and movement. But it could just be movement. But I like to do the 2 together. So you just want to change state in that moment. So you're thinking, oh, I got this craving. Your mouth is watering. You picturing the, whatever it is, the brownie or the whatever it is that you're picturing. Because it's a picture that's come up in your head. It's a picture. You almost want to swipe that one away and swipe in. It's a very good habit, something that's really healthy or something that you want to do. But that's not always often easy to do when you're in the midst of a food craving. So I would say, really good idea. I have my tennis shoes on almost all the time, I have to admit, even if I'm sort of like dressed up from the waist up for Zoom meetings and stuff like that. I've got my sweats and my jeans, and I've got my tennis shoes on because I know at a moment's notice I can leap up out of my chair and I can start moving my body. That can be getting on a rebounder. I have a little mini trampoline. It can be grabbing my kettlebell. Most of the time, the thing that works more than anything else is getting out and doing a really brisk walk. Weather permitting, even if it's raining, I'll do it I'll put on my weighted vest, I will get on and I will walk, really walk fast for like 20, 30 minutes. Any of those will literally take that hunger away. Not only that, or the craving, not the hunger, but the craving away. Not only that, but I feel so good about myself when I've come back because I've got through the craving without reaching for or driving, to get whatever that food was. I feel better. I've endorphins in my brain, the stress, hormones to deal with my stress have been released, my feel-good hormones. I feel good about myself because I've done my exercise, good little, exercise snacking, I call it. So that is an amazing, amazing hack. But you just have to do it. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Now, between the first and the second tip that I've given you here, or hack, you'll have to sort of find out what it is. And I think the way that you can realize that is if you're really emotionally stressed, like really upset about something, then you would want to do number one. That's when you really want to lean into it and ask yourself, first off, note and name the emotion and feeling Sophie is experiencing. And then really lean into that. And that's when you might need to journal, have a good cry, speak to somebody if you've got a coach or mentor or group that you can reach out to. Because that is the deeper healing work. And I don't want the second one we can reach for these quick things that can take it away immediately. But sometimes it's going to behoove you more to do, that deeper piece, that deeper work, get to the root cause of it. But in the days, if it's a habit that you just want to reach for those things, salty, fatty, sweet, blah, 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 then just try the music and movement. When I say music, just stick your earbuds or your headphones, whatever you use, and have a playlist of songs that are super, super upbeat that you love. And if you combine music with movement, like music and rebounding, that's fantastic too. And finally, number 3 is power up with protein in your meals. So what has been discovered is that you're way less likely to get hungry and therefore have cravings. And again, it's a fine line, I've already described, between real hunger and craving, but you're likely to stay satiated in between meals if you have enough protein in every meal. So what is enough? Well, studies show us that it's about 30 grams of protein per meal. So if you are somebody who tends to get hungry and crave a lot in between breakfast, lunch, or dinner, because we don't have too many snacks, the odd snack is okay, but not too many, you might want to look at how much protein you're getting. So I really recommend to my clients that you try and get 30, certainly 30 at breakfast. Easy to do, a smoothie and all sorts of different plant-based breakfasts, easy to get that in. When I say plant-based, you don't want the saturated fat, you don't want the cholesterol, you just, you want to take care of yourself. You want to eat tons and tons of whole plants, fruits and vegetables, because you want to feel good, because partly feeling good will make you crave less as well. And lunch as well, really important, right? So you get from breakfast to lunch without, feeling, full and satiated, and from lunch to dinner as well. And so 30 grams is the magic number. That has actually been, that has been found in evidence-based studies, that is the amount of protein, not really no less than that. You could go more than that if you want to, but I don't think we need to go crazy with protein. I know there's all these things right now of you have to eat a minimum of 100 grams of protein a day. It's the only way to lose weight, and it's not entirely true. There's a lot more nuance than that. But if you are somebody who tends to crash and get that massive kind of hunger that leads to those sort of cravings to reach for unhealthy foods, then 30 grams of protein per meal is a really good idea. So I hope you have found this video useful. And I know that you can do this, and the final piece is you could always say to yourself, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. I know what it's like to be addicted. I know what it's like to be food addicted. I know what it's like to be literally drug addicted. I used to be addicted to nicotine when I was in my teens and late teens, actually, and even early 20s, really late teens. I smoked cigarettes. And I know people are like, oh, you, Sophie? And I'm like, yeah. I was not a healthy teenager by any stretch of the imagination. Everybody did in the culture where I grew up, including my family. But it was a very, very, very hard thing to kick, and the cravings and everything. So I do know what it's like. I have been through it. I'll see you next time.